Attention please. This uploading is only for educational purpose. No intention to infringe copyrights. Learning English with Subtitles GPITRAL. Follow us.
Okay, guys, the round 2 category is film. Okay, can you decide in your pairs who's going to go first and who's going to go second? Right, whoever's going first, please step up to the podium. Remember, Pointless is all about scoring the fewest points possible. So you are looking for the answers that the fewest of our 100 people said. Okay, let's find out what the question is. We gave 100 people 100 seconds to name as many feature films starring Leonardo DiCaprio as they could. Could you be any more specific than that, Richard?
Yeah, quite a tricky one, this, I think. Any film, any feature film made for the cinema for which Leonardo DiCaprio has an acting credit. We're not going to include short films, documentaries made for TV films, anything like that. Things where he gets a credit. Vocal performances do count, though. So acting credits in feature films, and there are 20 on the list.
Thank you, Richard. And it's those really obscure ones, obviously, that we're going to try and find. Right, Katie and George, you're first. Katie.
I'm going to go for one of his first films, I think, which is What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Very good. Wow. Let's see how many of our 100 people said What's Eating Gilbert Grape. It's the right answer. It's good. Look at that. Down it goes. 10 points. That means, of course, that only 10 of our 100 people said What's Eating Gilbert Grape, and that scores Katie and George 10 points. A nice low score to kick us off this second round. On to our next pair, Chris and Dan. Chris, what are you going to say?
My one is also one of his early films. It's called This Boy's Life.
This Boy's Life. Very good. Let's see how many of our 100 people said This Boy's Life. It's correct. Down it goes. Down it goes. Very good. Pointless. That, of course, means that none of our 100 people said This Boy's Life, and it adds £250 to today's jackpot. Our total is now £1,250. So, Richard, This Boy's Life.
Yeah, well done, Chris. It's a great film, This Boy's Life. 1993, also has Robert De Niro in it. It's a wonderful film and a great answer.
Our first Pointless of the day. On to our third pair. We're looking for feature films starring Leonardo DiCaprio. Pete, what are you going to go for?
I don't know many of his films at all, but I might take a complete stab in the dark and think he may have been a voice in Shrek.
Remember, of course, if it's an incorrect answer, you will score the maximum of 100 points. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Shrek. Oh! Well, that was a very brave stab in the dark. Unfortunately, it was a wrong stab in the dark, which means you do score that maximum of 100 points. You are now our highest scorers. On to our fourth pair, Ruth and Pauline. Ruth, what are you going to go for?
Well, this is just not one of my favourite categories, but I think I'll go for The Beach.
OK, we're looking for feature films starring Leonardo DiCaprio. You're going to go for The Beach. Let's see how many of our 100 people said The Beach. It's the right answer. 48. Not bad. That means that 48 of our 100 people said The Beach, and that scores you 48 points. OK, well, we're halfway through the round. Let's see where we are on the scoreboard. Obviously, Chris and Dan are doing fantastically well there with their pointless answer of 0. You keep up that low scoring, and you're definitely going through to the next round. Oh, dear, Pete and Andy. Looking a little bit dangerous there on 100. You've just got to hope that everyone else scores 100 on this next round and that you score as low as possible. Right, we're going to come back up the line. Will the second players please take their places at the podium? OK, Pauline, we're looking for feature films starring Leonardo DiCaprio.
OK, there's 2 that I'm thinking of, but I'm going to pick Romeo and Juliet.
Very good. You're going to go with Romeo and Juliet. There's the red line there. If you're below that red line, you're definitely through to the next round. If you're above that red line, you could still be in danger. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Romeo and Juliet. safe. It's good. Look at that. 14. That means 14 of our 100 people said Romeo and Juliet. That takes your score up to 62. Phew-wee, you're safe. OK, we are looking for feature films starring Leonardo DiCaprio. Andy and Pete, your turn. By some margin, you are our highest scorers. You have to be looking for a pointless answer here, or at least as low a score as you can.
I don't think I'm going to come up with a pointless answer, but I think the most obscure DiCaprio film that I can come up with is Catch Me If You Can.
Catch Me If You Can. Let's see how many of our 100 people said that. It's the right answer. That's not bad. That means that 30 of our 100 people said Catch Me If You Can. That takes your score up to 130. I'm afraid that means you are definitely eliminated at the end of this round because you are so far ahead that even if Dan and Chris and George and Katie score 100 points, they still won't overtake your high score. But for the remaining pairs, there might be some more pointless answers out there, and each one of those will add £250 to our jackpot. So, Dan and Chris, what's it going to be?
I'm going to go for Blood Diamond.
Blood Diamond, very good. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Blood Diamond. It's good. It's not bad. Look at that. Down it goes. 16. That means 16 of our 100 people said Blood Diamond. That takes your score up to 16. OK, we're looking for feature films starring Leonardo DiCaprio. George.
Alexander, I don't care. Titanic.
Well done. Come on. Let's live a little, as they said on the Titanic. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Titanic. 88. That means 88 of our 100 people said Titanic. It's good enough. That takes your score up to 98. You're safe. You're sailing into the next round. So at the end of round 2, the losing pair with the highest score, I'm afraid, Pete and Andy.
Never mind.
Bad luck, guys. It just wasn't your area, I guess.
Schwarzenegger, yep.
DiCaprio.
Pretty boys. Not interested.
Richard, what other answers were there in there?
There were 6 pointless answers. These are the answers that none of our 100 people could remember. There's Celebrity, which is the Woody Allen movie from 1998. He was in that. That was pointless. Critters 3, the much-hyped follow-up to Critters 1 and 2. That was Leo's first ever film. Marvin's Room, which again is De Niro. And there are 3 others. Poison Ivy with Drew Barrymore, that was a pointless answer, nobody gave that. This Boy's Life we've already had from Chris, and Total Eclipse, which was a movie with David Thewlis, which I have to admit I've never heard of. We've already had the 3 worst possible answers. Pete and Andy gave us Catch Me If You Can, which was 3rd. Second, Ruth said The Beach, and the top answer, George, not giving a care, said Titanic, which got 88.
Pete and Andy, that was your second and final chance on the show. You clearly just didn't have that pointless Leonardo DiCaprio knowledge. It's been great having you on the show. Thanks so much for playing.
Thanks ever so much.
But for the remaining 3 pairs, it's time for round 3. Now, obviously, only 2 pairs will make it through to the head-to-head, so this is your final chance. All of you need to find those low-scoring answers to stay in the game. The round 3 category is words. So who's going to go first? Who's going to go second?
Yeah.
Right, whoever's going first, please step up to the podium. Let's find out what the question's going to be. We gave 100 people 100 seconds to name as many words that you can make out of purple. Richard, explain this to me.
Yeah, I want to get your brain thinking in a slightly different way. We're essentially looking for any word of 3 letters or more that you can make from the letters of the word purple. You don't need to use all the letters. Obviously, you can't use 1 letter twice, but it's using any of the letters, 3-letter words or more. No abbreviations or proper nouns, but apart from that, anything that's in the Oxford English Dictionary that you can make out of the letters of the word purple. Good luck. There's 1 word we're not allowing, and that's purple. Because that's that's already been made out of the letters of the word purple, essentially.
I see what they've done. Remember, you need to score the fewest points, so you need to give me the answers that the fewest of our 100 people said. George and Katie, you are first. George.
OK, list 3 letters. Pup.
Very good. Let's see how many of our 100 people said pup. It's good. Oh, it's good. 40. That means 30 of our 100 people said pup. That means George and Katie score 30. OK, on to our next pair, Dan and Chris. Dan. OK, we are looking for words that you can make out of the letters of purple. What are you going to go for?
I hope it's a word. Going slightly similar. We're going to go pep.
Pep, as in a pep talk. Let's see how many of our 100 people said pep. Oh, it's good. Down to 8. That means 8 of our 100 people said pep. OK, we are looking for words that you can make out of purple. The more obscure, the better, and they have to be 3 letters at least. On to our third pair. Pauline, what are you going to say?
I'm going to go for a 4-letter one. Pearl. P-U-R-L.
P-U-R-L. If it isn't a word, of course, you will score the maximum of 100 points. OK, let's see how many of our 100 people said pearl. It's good. It's very good. Look at that. Down it goes to 8. That means 8 of our 100 people said pearl, and it scores you 8 points. Richard, pearl.
Yeah, pearl, essentially it's a term used in knitting or embroidery, as in knit one, pearl one, sort of thread.
Very good. I've just learnt something. OK, well, we are halfway through the round. Let's see where we are on the scoreboard. Doing incredibly well with a low score of 8 is Ruth and Pauline and Chris and Dan. If you can keep up those low scores, you're cruising through to the next round. I'm afraid, though, George and Katie looking a little bit dangerous there on 30. You've got to try and find a really low score and hope all the others score high. OK, we're going to come back down the line. Can the second players please take their places at the podium? OK, we are looking for words that you can make out of the letters of purple. OK, Ruth, you are currently on 8. The high score is George and Katie on 30. So to be absolutely safe, you want to be scoring 21 or less. What are you going to give me?
Lure, L-U-R-E.
Lure, L-U-R-E. Let's see where that red line is. There we are. To be absolutely safe, you want to be coming in below that red line. Let's see how many of our 100 people said lure. It's correct. That means 46 of our 100 people said lure, and that takes your total up to 54. You are now our high scorers. OK, on to our next pair, Chris and Dan. Our high scorers, I say, Ruth and Pauline on 54. To be safe, you want to be coming in at 45 or less with your answer. We are looking for words that you can make out of the letters of purple.
OK, I was going to play lure myself, so that's a bit annoying, but I'll try rule, R-U-L-E.
OK, let's see how many of our 100 people said rule. There's the red line. You have to come in below that red line to be absolutely certain of going on to the next round. It's correct. You're safe. Ho, 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 ho. That means that 39 of our 100 people said rule. That takes your score up to 47, and it means you are safe and through to the next round. On to our third pair. Katie, to save your skin, you have to score 23 or less, otherwise you will be eliminated at the end of this round. OK, we are looking for words that you can make out of the letters of purple. What's it going to be, Katie?
OK, this is a difficult one to go last on.
It really is.
But I'm going to go for pulp.
This is your second and last chance to get through to the head-to-head. You have got to get below this red line here. Otherwise, you'll be leaving the game right now. Let's see how many of our 100 people said pulp. I just hope they're not Jarvis Cocker fans, that's all.
Come on.
Down it comes. Down it comes. You've done it! That means that only 10 of our 100 people said pulp. That brings your total up to 40, but that's bad news, I'm afraid, for Ruth and Pauline. I'm so sorry. You are our high scorers, and I'm afraid that means you will be leaving at the end of this round. That was tough, that one, wasn't it?
It was a wee bit, yes.
Oh, dear. Do you know what? I looked at that when I said... I was staring at the board. I couldn't make a single word. When George said pup, I thought, ooh, didn't see that there.